Hello, welcome to Mart's garage. I've got my hat on today, my warm hat. I want to try and button up the bottom end of the motor. I've started by fitting some studs just in strategic places to hold the gasket in place. And what I want to do is get the gaskets kind of in place, including the piece that goes here, and I want to do that before I put the flywheel on and before I put the oil pump in place, so that I'm not kind of working around the oil pump. I might be alright with the oil pump there, but it's only one bolt, so I'm going to put that in place afterwards. But I think not having the flywheel here will allow me to get around here more easily. I'm just trying to do things that will make it easier for myself. I've kind of cleaned the oil pan up. It's rather got bad surface rust on the outside, and I've kind of cleaned it up, but I'm going to fit it because I can still clean it up further on the outside once it's fitted, and it might be easier to do it with it attached on here. I'm kind of just giving it a little bit of a sanity check, and I think it might be okay and ready to go. That seems a bit big. I think I might need to trim a little bit off that. I think I'll trim a little bit off. I'll try a little bit and then see if it goes. I think I might get a bit of wire, you know, like coat hanger wire, and kind of make something to kind of go around there. This is a thing from a distributor, you know, the rabbit ears type. I was using it for yanking out the horseshoe clips. I'm just going to put it over there like that, just to hold that in place while it kind of sets. Okay, oil pump then. I've cleaned this oil pump. It's got Vaseline in it. Feels a bit notchy though, finally. I've put some oil down it and it feels okay now. So I'm going to just put it in. Oh, that's come off, look. Getting a bit annoyed with this now. So I had to look for this bolt. It's the one with the drillings in the head. I think it's the same as the one. Oh, this bloody thing's. It's the one with the drillings in the head. bit of wire from the welder. That'll do. Well, this is a waste of time, isn't it? I don't know quite how you're supposed to do this. I think it's just fractionally too long, you know. Let's try another little bit out of it, another tiny bit. About a 1/16. I'll just snip the ends off the wire. There's the safety wire on the thing there. Bit of oil there. Okay. It's going to be about as good as it gets, I think. Okay. I think this has got bent. That's it. That's fine. Good. Okay. Happy with that. This is where I fit the oil pan and forget to fit the flywheel, isn't it? So I need to go and find a flywheel now. The flywheel that was on it is an 11-inch clutch, so I don't want to use that. But I have got one that I've already drilled for a 10-inch clutch, so I'm going to try and find that. Okay, I've got two flywheels here, neither of which are great. This is one that was a 9-inch that's been drilled for a 10-inch. And this was an 11-inch that's been drilled for a 10-inch. This was the one off the crusty Flatty. This was one of those ones that had the heavy weight on the outside. The only problem with this one is I drilled an extra hole in it. I think that hole there is extra. So what I think I might do is put a bolt in there and cut it off to sort of, you know, add the metal back in, because this looks like a better bet. Okay, I've cleaned it up a bit. I put a bolt in it to compensate for the weight. Okay, crank looks alright actually. Looks good. Just give that a little wipe in there. Whew, brake cleaner. Okay. I was thinking I could just get it on there, but I might want to put it on end and use gravity to help me. Yeah, let's do that. Don't think it'll fall out. Getting to be a bit heavy now, this motor. Save struggling, use gravity to help. So there's the, I mean that's so much easier. Because there's two dowels. This flywheel's been sitting around for a long time, so there might be a little bit of rust in the dowel holes, but that's alright, it just means it's a bit tight. Okay, it's started. I want to put it back down because I don't want the gaskets to come out of place. Now I've got the bolts somewhere. Cool. Okay, you can't really see what I'm doing, can you? I don't think you really need to though, I'm only bolting the flywheel on. I'm just pulling it down on two opposite ones. Now I did these up too tight last time. I did them up to 80. They were only supposed to have gone to 75, 65 to 75. So just going to lift that gasket so that that can go against there like that. And I'll get my torque wrench and I'll set it to 65. And now I'll go to 75. Right, okay. Right, I'm going to go and get the oil pan, and as far as I can tell, this is all ready to receive it. Oh, and I've got to take that off, haven't I, at the last minute. So I'm going to get the oil pan, I'll put it on here, and I'll wipe it all out inside. It's already been done, but I'll just give it another go over. There's some slight damage there, and that's a very narrow area for the gasket. So I'm just going to kind of dress those up a little bit if I can. Right, so I've wiped it out as best as I can. Everything's nice and clean inside, well, relatively. This pan is a bit of a mess, but it's the best one I've got at the moment. It's the only one I've got. I have got others, but they're all pilot ones and the starter don't fit correctly. So I'm going to give myself a fighting chance by putting a bit of Hylamar there and there. And around there, but I'll do it on here I think. I'll put some on there and I'll put some there. Okay. This is going to be the difficult thing here, this seal, because it's popped up again now. Okay, so I'll take this out of the way, that wire clip out of the way. So put a little bit more Hylamar here and there on critical bits. See how much more difficult it is to get access to this area now with the flywheel and the oil pump in the way. So that's what I wanted to do that. Just put a bit there and along there. Put a bit in there. Smear it along that thin part. Okay, and I'll put a bit here. Put a bit around there as well, because that is open, isn't it, there? Other than that, I'm not really too bothered. Okay, that is going to be my problem. If this thing here pops off, which it is already trying to do. Okay, let's just put it on. Okay, cool. I can feel the oil pump mesh just above there. Right, bolts. I think these are the bolts. Okay, I'll go and get some locking washers. I'm just having a think actually. I wanted to spray some oil down over the cam and lifters. Right then, back to the previous thing where I'm going to find some washers for the bolts. All these bolt holes have been, well, the bolts in the block have been cleaned. And, you know, tapped out. The dipstick was all completely rusted up inside the tube, and I had to break it to get it out, and then I had to knock something up the middle of the tube to get the remnants of the dipstick out. Okay, hope I can get these studs out. I could just put some nuts on the studs, couldn't I actually? I won't tighten the others up until I've got the studs out. I think it's good having the studs there though, it certainly helps I think. I'm cutting a lot of corners on this engine, as you've probably been aware. It's not a high dollar build, I just want to build it so it runs. And then that'll prove whether the block's alright. If the block's alright, it's another engine that then you can kind of weigh up the potential for another rebuild later. If the block's no good, I haven't wasted a lot of time and effort on kind of peripheral stuff. Plus I don't know, something in me, I just like to get things working again. Not restore it, just get it working. This isn't going to be much use as a stud, is it? After holding the threads like that. Okay, good. Right then, I need to find some bolts. There's one. That's all right. Okay. That little corner there needs cleaning. I'll do it after actually. I'll get the bolt in so everything's lined up. I'll tighten everything down. I'll find a bolt for that corner there. I think the thread might need cleaning up. Yeah. I'll try putting this tap down it. This brake tool, so I have said it before, so forgive me, but If you haven't heard me say it, this brake tool makes a good improvised tap wrench for just, you know, these jobs where you're just cleaning out a thread. I cleaned all the threads in the block, but I never thought that there's one thread in the oil pan. You want the UJ on it because you have to come in at an angle on these ones here. I'm not going to over tighten these. Can you see what I mean about coming in at? Can you see what I mean about coming in at the angle? I'm not going to over tighten these because what I think I'm going to do before I tighten these is bolt a transmission housing on the back, so I know all the bolts at the back end are all lined up nicely. This is off a French military vehicle. See, that one don't want to go in. Okay. Might be just that it needs to be pulled down a bit more. Yeah, it just needed to be pulled down a bit more. I think that's okay now. Don't need to go too mad with these, otherwise you'll distort the pan rail. Take this off now, this bell housing. Yeah, they line up good now, those bolts. Now everything was tightened up. Those button bolts. Okay, good. Okay. I need to give that pulley some attention or find a better one. And then I can look at buttoning up the top end. But that's a job for another day, isn't it, to do that? Or to start working on the top end, putting the studs in, putting the heads on. I want to skim the heads. But let's leave that for another day. I'm quite comfortable working here today. This hat's really kept my head nice and warm. I look a bit daft, but you know, hey, warm or good looking, you know, you can't be both, can you? Good little productive session there. A couple of little things I want to revisit, like just cleaning the dirt out in that corner. You know, I can take that bolt out, clean it and put the bolt back in. But I'm quite happy with that. It's looking good. So thanks very much for joining me in the garage. Shall I say that again? So thank you very much for joining me in the garage then, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye then. Hello, I've come out to the garage today. I've just started doing a couple of little things. I didn't really come out to do a big filming session, so I thought I would just capture this on my on the camera on my phone to save getting a big setup out. And I'll put this bearing in. This is a 6203 2RS, and that's a Dunlop brand. And I've put some safety wire on here, which I'm relatively pleased about the way that's come out. I find it easier to do them in 2 pairs rather than trying to go around all 4. So I'm quite happy with that. This flywheel was drilled for 10" and 9". It was a 9" originally, one of those with the heavy outer wall on it, and I've machined the outer wall off. So I'm actually going to use a 9" clutch. This is a brand new plate that I bought about 10 years ago. Hopefully, you know, it's reasonable quality. It's not going to be original USA, it's going to be imported. And that is an original Ford Pilot clutch cover. It's the only 9" cover I've got. I've got some 10", but they're like completely modern import jobs. I'm going to give this one a go to see what it's like. I haven't got any decent used plates, so a new plate won't hurt, I wouldn't have thought. So I'm going to put that on there. I've given it a quick clean up, and what I did, I put it in the press and stroked it back and forth, and it seems to move quite nicely. So I'm going to sort out the bolts as usual. I haven't got 6 of the correct bolts, but I have got 3, so I'll put 3 in and I'll improvise on the other 3. The 3 will dowel it in position. Okay, I'll leave it at that then, and I'll just show you it probably when I do something else, and I'll just show this all bolted up. Okay, hello, I've been working on the flathead for a couple of hours, just doing little sort of titivation sort of jobs. I've been working on the flathead for a couple of hours, just doing those little jobs that you can do, you know, just sitting nice and quiet and doing it. I put a drill down all of these bolts here, 5/16 drill, and then ran a bottoming tap down all of them. I've just run a thread cleaning, not a tap, you know, but where is it? One of these, can you see it? One of these thread cleaning things. And I've just run it through all of these on this side and all of those on that side as well. A couple of them were kind of heavily clagged up, so I put the ones that were heavily clagged up, I put this taper tap down, but didn't go all the way in, just enough for the end of it to sort of take the dirt out and the crud out of the threads. Then I was able to put the other thing in and run that through and back. So all of those head stud holes are cleaned. All of those head stud holes are cleaned, and I did actually find, the light's not great over here, is it? I did actually find 6 pressure plate bolts. So this is bolted down now. I can give you a handy hint. If you're struggling to get them to start them without the washers. So get them started without the washers and then take them out one by one and put the washers on and then bring them fully home. That's what I had to do. I was struggling to get them to start. So there's one of those sessions where at the end of it there's hardly anything to show, but I have done a bit, and as always I'm just that little bit step closer. So okay, thanks very much for joining me and watching me doing not very much. I will catch you on the next one. Hello, I'm over here on the lathe and I've put the crank pulley that came with the old 59 Flatty in the lathe, and this side here had a big dent in it. And I've tried to kind of knock it out a little bit with a hammer. I can feel a couple of other little bits, so I might have to do a bit more work, but I've improved it dramatically to a point where it would probably run. This appears to be a weld here, and I think what this represents is a improvised dual pulley. I think somebody's taken another sheave from a single pulley, bored it out and put it over this one and brazed it there and welded it there to make a dual pulley. I'm not sure if that will be in the way or not, so I'm going to leave it on, but I'm going to straighten this one out in the same way that I've straightened that one out. So I can't really do it and show you exactly, but I'll give you the gist of it. What I've been doing, I come in with this this brass drift and start hammering on there, and then I was using this ball bearing to sort of almost like metal spinning. So I'll have a go at it and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm finished. Okay, I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, I've had a go at straightening it out. This one runs out a little bit. It's not too bad. I actually kind of levered it like that. It seemed easier than trying to hit it. So I'll give you a little bit of a demo. I'll have to kind of do it one-handed, but you'll get an idea of how I use the ball bearing. It's a bit of a two-handed operation. Like that. Like a metal spinning operation in effect. So what I'll do now, I'll get my wire wheel. I'll see if I can show you that. too bad. That was just to show you how I kind of cleaned that up. It don't look too bad really, to be honest. It looks perfectly serviceable. So anyway, there we are. So I'm going to use this on the old 59 Flatty, and what I'm going to do is put it on the engine and show anybody that hasn't seen it how to make a top dead centre mark. Okay. I'll clean this up, but I'll do it with the grinder, but I'll use two hands to do it rather than trying to do it holding the camera. Hello, there's the pulley in place. I've just done another sort of side job. I've made this little washer. Bit of a turning job on the lathe. I didn't film it. I'm not sure how much, excuse me, I'm not sure how much machining people want to see. Once again my parting tool crashed. I did it that way around. I skimmed it down, then I made that little shoulder there, chamfered that, chamfered that, chamfered that, and then I tried to part it, I kind of V'd it out, and then I tried to part it off, but my parting tool broke, so I cut it off in the saw, and then I put it that way around and skimmed it, and then I put a big countersink there because the bolt's got a matching, matching countersink, so you put that on there. Then it sits nice and flat. There's no daylight in between. You have to be careful about things like that. So now this goes in here. And it fits nice and flat. So I'll do that up tight, just like it is. I'm pretty sure that this didn't have a washer on it when I got it, but I'm going to put that washer on there like that. I think that'll be okay. While the engine is in this state, it's the ideal time to do a solid stop. It's the ideal time to generate a timing mark pointer using the solid stop method. So there's my little points that I've made. This is the method I normally use, which is the bent wire. That's a little bit of brazing wire, 1/8 brazing wire. And there's the number 1 piston. And what I did, I used this bolted on there like that. This is off my milling machine, a clamp, you know, of the milling machine. So we use that bolted on there, solid. And did the usual both ways. I put a dot at each when it came to the stop each way, and then I put a couple of arcs on with my dividers, and then I filed a groove where the arcs met. I took a photo when I'd got the arcs in place, so I'll show you that. And then I just filed a groove halfway between, and that's how it came out. Okay. Right then. Oh, sorry, yeah. And the other thing I did, when the pulley was in the lathe, I just took a skim over the top of the welds, because the welds were, there was a couple that was sticking up. So I just took a skim over the top of the welds just to get it down to a certain height or lower. I've got this big spanner that fits on there. But I'll show you the the mark. There's the mark coming round. Can you see that? So there's, oops, just gone past a little bit. So there's top dead centre, and there's the piston at top dead centre. Now what I'm a little bit surprised about is how low that is. That is the highest point, but I think that's a bit low. Sorry, the bolt's not tight, is it? That's not at the top dead centre now. Hang on, I'll go around one complete top. Yeah, bit disappointed in that, because that's, I'm a bit disappointed in that because that's like lost compression, isn't it? Oh well, okay, that's the way it is. I think it might be because the rods were resized and they've shortened them while doing it. Not very good really, but I don't have any other rods. But anyway, nonetheless, I'm quite pleased with that job there. That new washer, a nice little turning job on the lathe. Sometimes I have to just kind of get on and do stuff without trying to worry about cameras and filming and stuff. Okay, there we go. That's a good little session in the garage. Pulley repaired, solid stop made, washer made. As I think I keep on saying, another step in the right direction. Okay, thanks very much then. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.